So was Big Meech and the Black Mafia Family really the biggest dope operation of its era? And how is Steve Harvey connected to Dirty South gangsters, the Memphis Mob? I recently posted the story about Craig Petties of Memphis, who's serving 9 life sentences, 4 of them for ordering homicides in that Memphis Southeast region from his hideout in Acapulco, where he was being protected by his Mexican plug, Edgar Villarreal, aka Labarbie, who also was in the news recently. Well, just a few days ago, the Mexican press had a field day because when you look his name up in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, it says not in BOP custody, but as I discussed in my piece the other day, that most likely just means he's being put into witness segregation. And Craig Petties himself is at USP Tucson, serving his 9 life terms. And USP Tucson is a level 4 penitentiary, but it's where if you can't be on other yards, you've been getting run off, which doesn't necessarily mean because you're hot or telling, but that's certainly a primary reason. Now, Petty's plug, Labarbie, just to recap, was the Laredo, Texas-born gringo who went over to the other side of the border and became a guy that was running a whole enforcement division for the Beltrán-Leyva brothers, who were a part of the Sinaloa Federation at the time. He's one of the people that elevated the level of barbarity and violence in Mexico, ironically, an American-born, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. And he was sending 2,500 bricks a month to a network of of black dealers in the Southeast, of which Petty was the most important link in the chain, and that's why he let Petties hide out with him when Petties was indicted. Tens of thousands of pounds of weed every month, probably some H. Labarbie, in his peak years, was sending 130 million or more back to Mexico in cash in 12 months. I mean, you know, but 10 million a month. So I posited that Petties, but I really kind of meant that whole Southeast black distributors of Labarbie kind of setup with Petties as the main one was bigger than BMF. And I mean, Labarbie's network and the amount of stuff he was dumping was bigger than BMF. You know, Petties wasn't the only guy in it, but he was the largest one. Now, Mr. Flannery is a staunch and vociferous defender of his own status as the man who sold the most yayo, threw the most money on the most unwed single mothers, and is doing the most time, which are 3 honorifics I wouldn't think somebody would want, but he claims them proudly. Now, in this clip you're gonna hear, he talks about never having copped from Petties, but nobody ever really said he copped from Petties. It was just about, you know, these people don't realize there's all sorts of large rings going on all the time. We only know about the ones that hit the newspapers, and then some of them are overlapping, and of course it's secretive and etc. So like I said, Labarbie has just disappeared from BOP custody, meaning they're keeping him secret because he's going to witness segregation, because he was trying to tell all along, and I don't know how he lasted in general population this long. Perhaps someone in prison watched one of my stories on the cell phone, because I know my stuff is watched a lot. And the feds, I'm not here to out informants or anything, but like I don't care if I do either. And the Labarbie case, it was interesting because it just shows the magnitude and how the problems aren't really just coming from Mexico. I mean, Labarbie took the violence to that side, and seeing as that his one-time protector is going into witness segregation and Petties is at USP Tucson, his name may disappear too soon.
You know, just like the Craig Petties dude, man. Come on, man. How can you put me with this dude? I'm bigger than any plug I ever had, man. I never messed with this dude ever in life, man. The guy's a rat, man. He's been working for the feds for 2 years now. You know what I'm saying?
So that was Big Meech calling Craig Petties a rat. Having been in the federal prison system now for like 15 years, he's probably met people that Petties told on. And like I said, Petties is at USP Tucson, which is a dumping ground for people with problems in other federal prisons. To clarify, my point wasn't about Meech copping from Petties. It was about Labarbie's Atlanta to Gulf Coast supply chain, of which Craig Petties was a key link, moving more than BMF. And I'm sure it was. I mean, after all, while Meech and them were running around Atlanta and Dallas, Barbie had corrupted the entire city of Acapulco and was running one of Sinaloa's most deadly and brutal paramilitaries as the S-Gang Federation was fighting the Gulf Cartel and the dreaded Z's down there in Tamaulipas. So I always try to give you a little sociology and history, or at least I do in my pieces that I'm most proud of. So, you know, America is unimaginably large. If you haven't in a car driven, and you know, lots of people travel, but think about when you travel. Either you're going on vacation, you're going to certain cities, you're going to visit, you might go to some odd place, but it's to see a family member. Maybe you went to university somewhere, so you know that particular town. If you're a business person, you're flying into the airport and you're going to a hotel and, you know, probably some office building. But I've had the opportunity, it's a lot of hard work. Some of it was out of being low income, of driving back and forth Detroit to Atlanta, driving back from Phoenix to Detroit when I got out of jail, driving around the West Coast, trafficking this and that here and there. And I've been in a lot of just past, America's just really, really huge. It's so big, and Cavario and I talk about this a lot because me and him have a unique, you know, we've been in the infamous hood, like, you know, people can barely hang out in their own dangerous neighborhood. I've been in many different neighborhoods in different cities because I was doing work, so I was with somebody or whatever. And even this small subgroup of the population, say the black underworld, there's so many of those people that it's very different in different places. Now, just because everybody watch the rap videos, everyone's got the same clothes and haircuts, that don't mean, you know, people in New Orleans are not like people in Chicago, who aren't really like people in Brooklyn, who aren't really like people in Opelika, which is different from the 5th Ward, etc. So that southeast region where with Memphis and Atlanta, it kind of at the top, it's the largest region of, well, it's the top of the largest concentration of African-American population. 60% of black people live in the South. And I went down some years ago to the part of Arkansas that borders the Mississippi River, or the Mississippi Delta, and right on the other side we crossed into Mississippi. Once upon a time was the areas of the highest black population because slavery was legal, and that was the cotton country. And you know, if you haven't been to a place like that even now, it's not that it's horrible or good, it's just very different. I mean, it's like being in another country, but there's a lot of people scattered in those, you know, there's little medium-sized cities and just rural areas, and the same stuff is going on there. It's just spread out. I mean, my Honeycomb Brazy series explored his war with Dede Southall, the guy that's charged with bumping off his grandparents. Southall made Mobile, Alabama for a time the big weight station of the South because he had the cartel, because he had the big plug. So like my story exploring the war between Honeycomb Brazy and Dede Southall, the guy that bumped off his grandparents, really kind of weird. I mean, Southall made Mobile the weight station of the Gulf Coast for a while, thousands and thousands of kilos. He just got like 45 years. But he was an informant. I have an Instagram post in one of the stories where he looks in the camera and says, I got the city in a chokehold. I done told on everybody else. You watch, you know, like people in Louisiana, and you think like, are they really calling each other bitch all day long and kissing each other on the cheek and mouth and sitting in between each other's legs? I mean, that's, you know, it's penitentiary lover thug vibe.